Oké, dames en heren, welkom in Ojo. We staan hier met twee... Vanochtend heb ik Derek Brown aangekondigd als de Jezus Christus van de saxofoon. En toen had ik het ook nog eventjes over Donny McCaslin, die andere Jezus Christus van de saxofoon. Ze kenden elkaar niet, maar ze wisten wel van elkaar wie ze waren. En zo net hebben ze elkaar ontmoet. Derek Brown, wie heeft het concert gezien, zo net, van Derek? Precies, heel goed. En Donny McCaslin gaat later nog spelen. Is de laatste tijd natuurlijk heeft een enorme vlucht gemaakt zijn carrière door zijn werk op de laatste plaats van David Bowie. Maar daarvoor al jarenlang een fantastische carrière. Hij heeft onder andere bijvoorbeeld Michael Brecker opgevolgd bij Gary Burton en noem maar op. Dat doe je allemaal niet zomaar. Er is niks afgesproken, ze gaan spelen. En dan gaan we even praten en dan gaan we weer even spelen. Dames en heren, graag een enorm applaus voor Derek Brown en Donny McCaslin. You gentlemen bring meaning to the name of the festival, Music Meeting. That's why we're here. Derek, did you know Donny McCaslin?
I have seen him play twice in my hometown of Chicago and in New York City, but I've never actually met him. Hey, I'm Derek.
Donny, same question for you.
Well, I had seen Derek play on video. Yeah. But we met just now for the first time.
This, you know, the videos of Derek, they are like shared a lot among saxophone players and music lovers and anyone. But I know that saxophone players say, "Hey, look, check out this guy." Is that how did you, come on to the videos of Derek?
The first time, I'm not quite sure how. I'm not sure the first time, but I think I was drawn to Derek's playing because he's doing something different. It's not the usual saxophone language, and that's always interesting to me. You know, you know, I think he's doing something that's very personal with the instrument and also with music. And again, I think that's exciting to me as a music fan, as a saxophone player. Like, I want to. You know, I want to poke around and see what's there because I'm always looking for inspiration, and I'm always looking for something new and something to kind of like to feed my creative unconscious.
Is this also in a literal way that you see him play, you think, then I have to work on my slap tongue techniques, or I have to work on this? Or...
But you know, you hear different things and think, oh, okay, well, that's really cool. And it's not that I know what he's doing or anything, but yeah, it's interesting. Like I listen and I'm like, yeah, so okay, he's doing this, and it's cool. As a saxophone fan and as a music fan, it's interesting to hear somebody taking, I don't know if this is the term, is extended techniques. You mentioned that earlier, and really making that a large part of their presentation, and I'm really interested. I really like it a lot. So yeah, I hear him doing things like that's cool, and then of course, if I'm practicing, I'll think about that a little bit and see where it leads me.
Is this maybe you as a saxophone player that you can explain what makes the Donny McCaslin sound so personal?
Yeah, so I've been a fan of Donny's from, I think the first time I heard you was in some of your work in the Maria Schneider big band, which is my favorite big band in the world. Just beautiful, beautiful playing, arranging, and Donny's sound fits so into this, just so personal. Not just, and the biggest thing is just not playing standard licks. Like I don't just hear like a normal 2-5-1 bebop lick. You're really, you play what's inside of you, and then also you have a very thematic way of playing. I notice where like I remember hearing you in Chicago play, and you kind of messed around with a theme. You had like a certain overtone or something that you hit, and then you built your whole solo with that. Whereas other players, it's like, I'll throw this in, and then I'll just go somewhere else and throw this in, try to play something flashy and fast. But you're really, like, you can see you're exploring, the sound and trying to take it a new place, and very risky, Like people talk about Sonny Rollins performing, is that he would always, you would never know if you saw him live, if you'd see him on an on night or an off night, because it was always different. And I feel like I've only seen you on nights. Maybe you don't have off nights. You probably don't. But I get the sense that you're going for it. You're taking risks. You're playing in a way that you haven't played before, and that really comes out in your playing. And that is so inspiring to me, because it's so easy for me to get up on stage and just play what I know, it's inspiring to see people in front of people. This is live art creation. You're creating art live, and so that's so inspiring to me.
Is it well spoken? Is it hard, Donny, in the world of such a heavy saxophone tradition and music traditions and schools and everything? Is it hard to find really yourself in your playing, to really stay personal?
Well, I would say that it depends on how you look at it. Because what you said is true. I mean, for me as a young musician, John Coltrane was my role model, and I wanted to be, as good as he was or something. But then I realized at a certain point that in a way I would never be able to attain that. And then that it was more important for me to figure out what my own voice was, and to try to nurture that when something appeared that felt personal and it felt different and spoke to me. I had to figure out how to nurture that and develop it. So I think in one sense it is difficult, because there is this huge tradition and all these amazing players and all this language, but then in a way it made me think I have to turn away from that and find my own way, because I'll never be John Coltrane. So I have to be the best Donny McCaslin that I can be, and find out what it is. What is my voice? What is my language? What is music? What touches me about music? And find what that is, and then nurture that and work on it. And it's been a process. It's not like it happened for me when I was 20. It's just this constant, journey through realization of and working on it. And now I feel, really, I feel, I don't know, in it. But and still a lot of work to do. But but it's a process, but there's a certain balance for me personally. I mean, it's different for everybody, you know, but there's a certain balance of like embracing my forefathers on the instrument and in music and really being all the way in that, but then also consciously saying, but I also have to just go for whatever is appealing to me, and it maybe is not jazz, and it's maybe not saxophone. And I went for 15 or 20 years without listening to Michael Brecker, for example, because he was such a heavy influence on me when I was really young, you know? And I had to get away from that to find my own voice. So it's been things like that. And then for many years, I just listened to like percussion music and stuff like, you know, so just giving you some examples. For a period, I was really into like folkloric music from the Americas and Africa, and just really studying that. So all that to say that it's been a journey, but it's one that I whenever I talk to young musicians, I talk about how everybody has their story to tell, you know, and it's getting the skills on the instrument, you know, to be able to express yourself. And then the language and what is that story, and how do you find it, and being open to wherever that can lead you aesthetically, if that makes sense.
Definitely makes sense. Yeah. Derek, in the similar subject, is there a moment you can say, or a realization, or maybe an example that you thought, okay, that you found your really special way to, because extended techniques, to say, some people say you cannot say extended techniques because it's also saxophone playing, but okay, to give it a name, but they were there, people were using it, but not like you. So is there a moment that you thought, okay, no, but here's when I thought, okay, this is it for me?
4:45 p.m., September 9th, no.
That's what I want to know. Are we writing this down?
I was struck by lightning, and no. And actually, so much of my musical life, I have felt like I don't know where exactly I belong. Still to this day, I'm at that point. I studied classical and jazz music at colleges in the US, and I would even use that as a crutch. I would say, like, I would hear a really good jazz player, and I'd be like, well, that's because I'm a classical guy. And then I'd go to a jam session, I'd hear I'd hear an amazing classical player, and I'd be like, well, that's because I can improvise, you know? And so I was always kind of in between, but the one thing that I was always doing is I was always trying to have open ears, you know, just being open to things. And so I remember when I was in college, and yes, there was a period where I was like hardcore, you know, doing the Charlie Parker, the Sonny Rollins, but then there's a period where I started to drift, and I got into world music, like a lot of the music I'm hearing at this festival. And I didn't know why I was doing it. It wasn't for study, you know, it was just because I was drawn to it. And I remember hearing certain sounds just from all over, like hearing, you know, in maybe a free jazz setting, which I'll admit I don't listen to a lot of avant-garde free jazz, but I remember hearing a sax player go and making those popping sounds. And then even though that wasn't necessarily my favorite style, I was like, oh my gosh, that was cool. I wonder if I can use that. And, you know, I was listening to a lot of pop music in my teen years, like really cheesy pop music.
Example.
I mean, I feel bad saying if they're cheesy or not, but it's, but well, you know, like guilty pleasures, like Bryan Adams, Tears for Fears, George Michael. I mean.
Oh, that's just great music. You don't have to be ashamed.
Yeah, and for me, just speaking of music, for me, there's, you know, sometimes I want a fine steak, or I want to find wine. You know, the complexities. I want to be challenged, and that's you know, a lot of serious jazz or art music. But then sometimes I just want candy. Or McDonald's, I'm sorry to say. And that's that side. And that was a bit of what you were saying about kind of finally becoming who you are. And it really wasn't until after college when, you know, I learned so many important fundamentals. But after college was when I was kind of free to be like who I actually am. And I could actually apply some of these techniques in a way that was a little bit more pop, jazz, accessible. And just stealing some things that I would steal, some things that I might try on my own. And you know, I go by the name Beatbox Sax on my album, but the truth is, like, I don't actually beatbox. I don't know how to beatbox. I don't do that. It's just what someone called it, and so it's like, really, it's extended technique. And it's like, that sounds lame. Beatbox act, sure. That's the name of my album. So, but still, to this day, I don't know, do I fit in a jazz club? I feel like I fit into a place like this, which is so open to various styles. But still today, I'm kind of insecure sometimes about exactly what my style is. But the big thing is just, it's a lifelong process, and it's becoming who we are, and probably those insecurities that led me to doing this. And so,
yeah. We are really happy that you have this points in your lives and sharing it with us at this moment. Okay, you want to play one more thing for us? Before you do, I have one last question for you, Donny. Are you into action sports? Absolutely. But be careful, because this is what can happen. This is snowboarding. So you do snowboarding?
No, I play basketball.
So you get the twisted ankle.
Yeah, I play basketball.
Okay, be careful, because we need you to play the saxophone, okay? Donny McCaslin, Derek Brown. Brown. Donny McCaslin. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dat is het einde van vandaag hier op dit podium, maar morgen, overmorgen gaan we weer verder. En Donny McCaslin speelt straks om 11:15 in de Nico in de grote tent daar. Als je daar niet heen gaat, ben je knettergek. En dat wil je niet missen. Oké, nog één keer. Donny McCaslin, Derek Brown.